What's up guys, it's Tommy here and welcome to the Liverpool Crystal Palace League Cup match reaction analysis video, and we will also talk about Arne Slot's future because more and more Liverpool fans are turning against Arne Slot and want Arne Slot to get sacked. I'm not in their camp. I want Arne Slot to stay and to figure this out, but where do you stand? Let me know your thoughts down below. I would love to hear your opinion, and we will talk about the team selection because that was very controversial. Not necessarily the starting lineup, but having no senior players on the bench angered many Liverpool fans, and I will be honest, I didn't really understand it. I understand Arne Slot going with a new system, and he changed the system with a 5-4-1 system to counteract Crystal Palace, and for the first 38-40 minutes it actually worked well. Liverpool created some chances and we had the intensity, we had some sharpness, we had some rhythm to our play. But then, in just 5 minutes, Crystal Palace completely tore Liverpool apart after a couple of mistakes. Joe Gomez first gives the ball away in the box. He flicks it to Ismail Assar, who is Liverpool's arch nemesis. He scored 4 goals in his previous 3 games against Liverpool. Or is it the 4th game in a row which he scores in? Absolutely crazy. Ismail Assar just loves scoring against Liverpool. But Joe Gomez was at fault for flicking the ball to Ismail Assar instead of properly clearing it. And the second goal, just Joe Gomez gets dragged out of position, and Endo and Robertson are not tracking the run of Ismail Assar, who runs into the box unopposed, gets the ball and finishes it. And that was pretty much game over and tie over at that point, because Liverpool just didn't have anybody on the bench. The main reason is Liverpool have 7 or 8 injuries in terms of players are out injured or they have knocks. Curtis Jones, Isaac picked up small injuries recently, so Arne Slot didn't want to risk anyone. And I think he is entitled to do that, because the next 3 games are much more important. Aston Villa, Real Madrid and Manchester City. 2 huge games in the Premier League and a game in the Champions League. And I think Arne Slot has to win against Aston Villa, because you can't rest all of your starting 11 pretty much, apart from maybe Kerkez and McAllister. These players usually don't play for Liverpool that started this game. You can't rest all of your starting 11 and not win on the weekend against Aston Villa. That becomes such a big game, because this is Liverpool's worst run since 1903, when that was the last time when Liverpool lost 6 out of 7 games, which is just a ridiculously awful run of form. And yes, there are mitigating circumstances, but the bottom line is this is just not good enough. This is not Liverpool standard. This is relegation form at the moment. If you think about this game or these runs of fixtures and this run of results, so Liverpool absolutely have to beat Aston Villa at Anfield, and then we need to get a result against Real Madrid in the Champions League as well. But the bottom line is Liverpool, again, because there were a bunch of players thrown together, we didn't have a clear idea, a clear pattern of play. And I mean, Jurgen Klopp did this many times before, resting players, changing the team completely. But the difference was, even the youngsters knew exactly what their role was. And they knew exactly the pattern of play, the style of play that is required in a Jurgen Klopp team. So even the youngsters played like a Jurgen Klopp team. And Liverpool won the League Cup actually with a lot of young players under Jurgen Klopp. At the moment, Arne Slot is still figuring out what is the best style of play for Liverpool going forward. And that is the biggest problem, I think, this season, that it is a transitional season where Liverpool are transitioning from the old Liverpool to a new Liverpool with some new connections, new patterns of play. Florian Wirtz playing as the number 10. We still need to figure out how to get the best out of this attack of Gakpo, Wirtz, Isaac and Mo Salah. And also Chiesa playing as a number 9 is not an ideal solution, I think, because he's not a real striker, but because Ekitike is our only fit striker, Arne Slot didn't want to risk him. But I feel sorry for some of the players. Calvin Ramsey, I thought, was one of our best players, and Rio and Gomoa had a pretty good game as well, but overall just Liverpool weren't at the races, and that's not an excuse that we rotated, because Crystal Palace rotated as well and they still played much better And I mean, it's embarrassing that Liverpool had one shot on target at Anfield in 90 minutes of football. I don't remember the last time that happened, but Crystal Palace had 9. They had 9 shots on a target. So even a 3-0 scoreline actually flatters Liverpool. Amaranalo came on in the 67th minute, and just a few minutes later he got sent off again. This is such an unlucky, but also maybe poor run, that he played 2 games for Liverpool, and in both games he got red cards in the League Cup in 16 minutes of football in total, which must be a new record, I'm sure. And I mean, he's just not a Liverpool level player, Liverpool standard player, so he's quite unlucky that he got a red card, but he made a huge mistake. But that was also down to Joe Gomez passing the ball with a very risky pass to Amaranalo, who failed to control it, and Jeremy Pino put Liverpool away with the 3-0 in the 88th minute. But by that time, a lot of Liverpool fans went home from Anfield, and that was also very worrying, that a lot of Liverpool fans said screw this and went home. And this was in front of a packed Anfield. Liverpool had pretty much from the first whistle had very little chance to win this game, even though first 35 minutes was okay. After that, when Liverpool conceded those 2 quick goals at the end of the first half, that knocked all the belief out of the team. And I don't understand why the Liverpool players were sat behind the bench if they weren't going to play. Probably Arne Slot was afraid that if one of our big stars get injured in such a smaller game, I say the League Cup is probably the smallest or least important competition in terms of prestige and prize money. And Arne Slot was just probably afraid of any of his big stars getting injured, because then Liverpool have even more problems. And these next 3 games could shape Liverpool's season. And there is a possibility Liverpool lose all 3, which I don't want to think about it. But after that, there comes an international break. I'm not sure the pressure will be too much on Arne Slot or not. I really don't know what the owners are thinking right now. I think they still trust Arne Slot, and they still think that Arne Slot is the right man on the job. You can't keep losing games as a Liverpool manager and stay in the job, because that's unacceptable, and the fans will turn on you. Already quite a lot of Liverpool fans I see turning on Arne Slot, but I would love to hear your opinion. I still think, because of his first season, because of winning the Premier League at the first try with pretty much the old squad of Jurgen Klopp, Arne Slot deserves time, and he deserves to figure it out. And also, there are not many great world-class managers available. It's not like the Brendan Rodgers situation where Jurgen Klopp was available and we could hire him to be a much better manager than Brendan Rodgers. Right now, there are not many great managers, world-class managers available. So even if, let's say, Liverpool pull the trigger and sack Arne Slot, what next? During the season, nobody can come in who can do a much better job than Arne Slot. At least that's my opinion, that's my belief. But I would love to hear your opinion. I never thought we would even talk about this at the end of October, after winning the league so comfortably at the end of the season last season. But it's definitely a hugely concerning run of form for Liverpool. And because Liverpool have so many injuries, Arne Slot said that maybe playing against Brentford 2 days after playing against Frankfurt with pretty much the same team, Arne Slot said, I saw there a team that maybe struggled with playing 3 games in 7 days. Not an excuse to lose that game, but it is not a complete surprise if I see some of the struggles some players have had in pre-season, players that came from different leagues. It's a new challenge for them to play in the Premier League and in the Champions League in 3 games in 7 days, because the intensity of the Premier League and the Champions League is so high. So again, in 2 days we play Aston Villa, and last time I played a player we thought was ready for their program. It turned out maybe he wasn't. Was Alexander Isak. He went out with an injury at Frankfurt. Last time we played Southampton, Leone went out with an injury, and we got a red card for Ekitike after 2 yellows. So that's maybe one of the reasons why Arne Slot hasn't risked any of the first team players. And right now Liverpool have only 15 or 16 senior players available. And these Liverpool always used the academy players for the League Cup, but the fact is, under Arne Slot, in the League Cup, we had a good run last season, but this season, he didn't want to risk any of the senior players, putting them on the bench even. I think maybe 1 or 2 players could have been on the bench, but that probably we still would have lost. I mean, at 2-0 down, if we bring on Salah and Ekitike and Gakpo and Szoboszlai, I don't think they turned it around. Crystal Palace beat our first team already twice this season. Yes, once on penalties in the Community Shield, but to lose to Crystal Palace 3 times in the space of 2 months, 2 or 3 months, that's pretty embarrassing, to be honest, from Liverpool. And already rival fans are criticizing Arne Slot for complaining about his squad when he spent more than £400 million on it. But the fact is, yes, we have about 6 or 7 players out injured, and if more players get injured, then Liverpool's squad will be really thin. And it's true that we have many players coming from abroad, from foreign leagues, like Ekitike, like Wirtz, like Frimpong, and maybe they are not used to the intensity of the Premier League and the Champions League. Like Frimpong already got 2 muscle injuries in the same space of 2.5 months playing for Liverpool. And this formation was very interesting with 3 centre-backs and 2 wing-backs. Maybe Liverpool will try that out against Aston Villa as well. We could play Konate, Van Dijk and Robertson in a back 3 with Kerkez on the one wing and maybe Szoboszlai on the other wing, or Conor Brady on the other wing, Gravenberch and McAllister in the middle, and then we could have 3 attacking players up front. So yeah, Arne Slot definitely is trying different things. And Calvin Ramsey was the shining light. He had a very, very decent performance. He was calm on the ball. We had good chances in the first 35-40 minutes. It's a shame that Liverpool couldn't take them. We couldn't score, and that has been the theme of the season. Also, this was the 7th game in a row where Liverpool conceded first. That is terrible. I mean, even the first thing, Liverpool conceding 7 times in a row, is also not good, but Liverpool concede multiple goals, and we concede forced as well. I mean, conceding 3 goals against Brentford and 3 goals against Crystal Palace is just unacceptable, and I think Arne Slot needs to turn this around, but the pressure is mounting on him. Let me know your thoughts down below. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day. See you later, guys. Goodbye.